Southampton 1, Tottenham 1, dropped points. Failure against 10 men for Antonio Conte's boys this afternoon. Big advantage to Arsenal Football Club, who maintain their superiority in the top four race. Man United getting a little bit of a get out of jail free card after their poor performance against Newcastle United yesterday evening. Most people expected Spurs to win today, especially when they equalized and Southampton went down to 10 men. A poor performance, really, in the end from this Tottenham team. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Still, if they win their games in hand, they will sit in the fourth place position, a point ahead of Arsenal. So they still have a potential advantage, but you have to win those games. And this is going to be a very topsy-turvy ride in the Premier League. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. We'll take a look here at the Premier League table as it stands right now, as you can see, with Tottenham sitting there in sixth. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer, actually, so you can see it a little bit better. Sitting in sixth position in the league. Arsenal maintaining that fourth spot. West Ham with an excellent win today, as you can see, 4-1 at Watford. A very, very good result for them indeed. But those two draws for Man United and Tottenham, poor from their point of view. But they play Burnley and Watford next. Again, two games they should be winning. A massive game for Arsenal against Manchester City. But the fact that 2 points have been dropped by both Manchester United and Tottenham in the past 24 hours is very positive news for the Gunners indeed. It really, really is. This race is going to be absolutely... this race is going to be very, very exciting indeed. It is. I want your reaction to this. I want your comments. Jerome here says we were robbed by VAR literally because that was a definite onside goal by Harry Kane, is what Jerome's got to say. Do you know what I did think? I thought back to the Man City game and their penalty they got against Wolves, when the ball clearly hit the part of the arm where the shirt sits, the sleeve, and it was given as handball. Harry Kane was given offside today by his sleeve. And the new rule was meant to stop that kind of from happening. The lines were meant to be thicker. It didn't look that way today. So I can understand your frustration with that. What I would say is it's not a Spurs thing. I've seen a lot of teams and a lot of clubs mistreated in that way. There's no doubt about it. Jack here says offside or offsides. They absolutely are. KJ says Spurs bottling it isn't a good enough reason to say they're not going to get top four. Listen, there's a long way to go yet. What I have noticed in the past 24 hours, which is a very interesting thing for me, is people are very quick to say, see, I told you so, when there's still half a season to go. There's a long way left yet. If you think Arsenal are not going to drop points, you're mad. They may drop points in their next game against Man City. There's a very, very long way to go this season. Every game matters. Every game's important. But I think writing Spurs off, remember, this is the first Spurs manager in the history of the Premier League, and I think only the second Spurs manager in their club's history to be undefeated in his opening 7 games, league games as manager. Do you realize how big that is for a team Spurs' side? And they weren't very good today. They've still got to get their January transfer window. Don't write Tottenham off at your peril. Celebrate them not picking up the points, but I say write them off at your peril. I'm all for banter, but credit to Southampton. And you're absolutely right there, Grey Wolfton. Southampton were excellent today. And look, the lad, is it Sawalu? Stupidity to get sent off. Probably shouldn't have been booked in the first place. But when you're on a booking, you don't make that tackle. If he doesn't make that tackle, they were in the ascendancy. They were dominating the game. They were suffocating Tottenham. They look very good indeed. I think that the mistake made by Antonio Conte today was not enough rotation from the previous game. They didn't look as fresh, where Southampton, highly rotated, did. But the mistake happened, and then the game changed its direction massively. But Southampton deserve a hell of a lot of credit. Tottenham Hotspur robbed is what's being said here by Man City. Tottenham Hotspur robbed is his view, his opinion. Remember, you can guess for our secret phrase with your super chats as well. We are still giving away that PlayStation 5 plus other gifts. We have changed the phrase, though. We revealed the previous one prior. Carl Walker Peters' defense was rock solid. He was excellent today against his former employers. He really was. Terrace legend Maria Williams says, no point of moaning about the ref. We should have done better with having against 10 men. I said I wanted to see how we'd do away. Unbeaten is one positive, is what Maria Williams has got to say there. And I agree with you. Josh Smith says VAR was embarrassing. 2 clear goals disallowed today, is what Josh Smith has got to say. What goes around comes around. Kane should have been sent off against Liverpool and not on the pitch today, is what Liam Kenny has got to say. And a lot of people would agree with you on that. And say that. 40-year-old Virgil says serves them right for cheating versus Liverpool, is what 40-year-old. Do you know what's crazy about the cheating claims? I've had people in my DMs today telling me that Man United were lucky last night and Newcastle were cheated. And I'm still trying to work out whether robbery or cheating came in that game. We always think we get robbed and cheated when we don't win and lose. It does make me laugh. It is funny. A draw against 10 men Saints is a new win for Spuds. Do you know what I would say? I don't think it's Wolves. I think Southampton have only lost at home this season to Wolves. They do have a good home record. And I'm going to hazard a guess they haven't played Southampton or Man City or Chelsea at home this season. I'm guessing there. I don't know. But it's a good record. It's a tough place to go, clearly. So a draw before the game, maybe Spurs would take. But when you're against 10 men, they should have created a little more. The Emerson Royale substitution for Brian Hill should have come sooner. I thought he was quite inspired when he came on, the young man. Created a couple of good goal-scoring opportunities. It felt like he needed an extra 10 minutes. Felt like he needed a little bit more time to cook in that game, in my opinion. Ward Prowse come to Arsenal. Ward Prowse had another excellent game today. One of the best technicians around, if I'm being honest. I would love to see his output and I'd love to see his deliverance surrounded by better quality players. I actually think he could do a bit of a Diego Jota. Now, I know he's not a striker, but I think if he was surrounded by better quality players, I think you would see a level of elevation in his game. I think he's a very, very talented player indeed. And I'd love to see him take that step up to that next level. And I think maybe, not Man City, not Liverpool, not Chelsea, but I think Arsenal would be a very good step change for him with where Arsenal are right now, what they need in the middle. Premier League proven. Could do a very good job at the Gunners, no doubt. The Saints have saved Man United's bacon today. And there's such an element in truth in that. You look at the league table now, and I was worried about Spurs win today because Spurs winning would have had 32 points. They'd have been sitting fifth, and been more than a win in front of Manchester United. And I do feel like they're going to be very hard to catch. I do currently look at them as the biggest contender for Man United. However, my mind is starting to change about that as well. If I'm being honest, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Arsenal, their game against Man City and Spurs are very interesting to me. If they get a result against City and beat Spurs, Arsenal become the favourites to make top four because I think it shows they can deliver in the big games. Their unbeaten run continues. They'll have a huge numerical advantage, although there'll be games in hand. But those games in hand, especially for Man United, are going to come with Champions League football and other competitions at play. They become, for me, the favourites from their Arsenal with positive results. Tottenham, still going to be dangerous, though. Still going to be dangerous. I'm not going to write them off just yet. But Spurs dropping points today is a massive positive for Man United from a league position point of view. Just 2 points behind them. Easier to turn around. Again, add 2 points to that, you're looking at 4-point gap. You're looking at a 4-point gap has been saved today. So, yeah, you're very true in relation to that. A few people saying Brian Hill looked good when he came on. A few people saying Brian Hill looked rubbish when he came on. I thought he looked quite good, to be fair. Needs some more game time, really, for me to start to flourish. Terry, do you think Spurs have the ability to break down low blocks? Every time they play away, Everton, Southampton, they struggle to break them down. I think they do. They lack a bit of speed, and their attack is a little bit one-dimensional away from home. They try to the counter-attack works fine. I think it's about being a little. I think the transfer market's got to help them. Dele Alli and Ndombele, no matter which one of them plays, they don't possess what Christian Eriksen had. That half turn, that ability to work between the lines, between the spaces, that subtle, delicate, techie pass that can open up a team, that can create the extra space. They don't have that as a team right now. They're not particularly quick either. They've got Son and they've got Luke Moura. They don't really have any speed. And you see, like Emerson Royale, you watch him run. It's like he's running with concrete boots on. Reguilon's not quick. Kane is not. He's not electric in speed. They need a bit more pace in this team, and they need somebody. They need to replace Christian Eriksen, which they haven't done since he left. So January is a very important month for Tottenham. The window opens in 4 days' time, which is why I'm saying don't write them off right now. Let's see what they do, who they bring in, how those players cook before we start writing people off in relation to that. That would be my take. EGAL's going to be on the show soon. Going to share the link as well for you Spurs fans that want to come on and have your say. Remember, we're live tonight with a big panel sponsored by Fan Team. Remember tonight for the big match reaction show, the ultimate match reaction show between Leicester and Liverpool, and the first live in-studio Football Terrace watch-along is on this Sunday, Chelsea versus Liverpool. Exclusive on Twitch. We've got a new deal with Twitch going ahead, so make sure you go and subscribe to our Twitch account. The link is in our description below for that. I want to hear from you. I do. Wreck-It Ralph is what the Liverpool fan have got to say. Like we don't do echo chambers here. I thought I'd put it up. Thanks for the banter. Please don't spam. Is what Maria Williams says. Spammers are cool. Just let them do their thing. Do you know if you ignore spammers, they go away? I'd say ignore them. I guess Arsenal, a lot of, in fairness, last night, a lot of Gooners were messaging me last night thinking they are legitimately the favourites now in this top four race, which is fair, which is their right. They can believe that. I think we're wrong. They're wrong to believe in themselves. They're playing better football than Tottenham, although their results are fairly similar in terms of the amount of games. If you look at the last 7 games, their points haul, it's about the same. I think. I haven't looked. They're unbeaten in 7, where I think Arsenal have lost a couple, but won 1 or 2 more games. So I think their points totals are around the same. Man United still not cooking after Ollie has left and since Ralph's come in, so I can totally get that. But you know what's crazy? We might fast forward 3 or 4 games and our minds change. This is what's great about this race. If Man United do very well against Burnley and Wolves, and Arsenal get beat in their next 2, and Spurs win their next 2, everyone's opinions are going to change again, which is why I just like to remain a little bit relaxed in relation to that right now. They're all in the hunt. Don't write any of them off. You're all going to have a favorite, but I think writing any of those teams off is mad right now. Are you doing halfway awards? Yes, AB. I've got to speak to the team. We're going to get a little panel together, and we're going to do kind of half-season team of the year, player of the year, young player of the year, signing of the year, over and under achievers. We're definitely going to be doing that on the terrace, my friend, as we always do. We always do that. Well, we always try to do that, I think. We have shared the link if people want to call in. That's already in the live comment section for you. Make sure that like button is being smashed as well. It was a very big day on the terrace yesterday, and a lot of that is driven by yourselves, our live viewers. So a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Terry, what about West Ham? Look, West Ham are still there or thereabouts. And look, they responded today with a very good win. Of course, they've played the same amount of games as Arsenal. They're 4 points behind them. If Man United and Spurs win their games in hand, which is still more likely than not to happen, they would sit 7th in the league. West Ham need their players back from injury, and they need a big January. They need a big January. They've been, the weaker squad of the 4, the thinner squad of the 4, and they're in, unlike Arsenal and Tottenham, who are better teams than them, they have European football, so they need to do something in January, 110%, if West Ham want to make the top 4, in my opinion. But they responded today. They actually played some pretty football as well. It looked quite nice. It was only against Watford, but you know what I mean? We praised Arsenal for beating Norwich and looking good. So why would we not praise West Ham for beating a better team than Norwich and scoring 4 goals past them? Right, let's start going to calls. We have got a gal to come on the show very, very soon. We'll get him on in a minute. First on the show, we're going to go to Karim14. Welcome to the terrace. What do you want to say, mate? Are you there, bro? You're on mute right now.
Shut up!
Okay. We're going to go to Ishak. Ishak's on the show with me now. What are you saying, brother?
It was all right. It was a good game, but I'm disappointed that we lost. That we drew. It felt like a loss because we should have won that game with the red card.
Yeah, you should have won the game.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed with that as well. There's no doubt about it at all. That sort of feeling of what might have been. How confident are you, though? You know, first manager in the Premier League ever for Tottenham to be undefeated in their first 7 games. You were under the cosh a little bit in the opening stages, but you came through again. How confident are you in this top 4 race that you can catch and surpass Arsenal?
I'm confident if we get the transfers in. I think we will back it. I think we will back Conte because I'm like hearing that we could get players in. But if we don't get the players in, I don't know if we can get in there.
Yeah, I do think players are going to be important because there are some areas where you just lack that little bit. You know, you're grinding out these results. You're not losing games, but you can see that lack of quality at times. I think moving Dele Alli on and bringing in a quality, creative, like you need your version of Martin Odegaard. You need someone who's going to be creative. Yeah, you need that. You add that to the team, a better quality centre-back, and maybe another striker, a bit more pace. You know, who knows?
Yeah, I'm like with Paratici, he's good with like getting pre-contracts in. Like Dybala is on a free, so we could get him. And other creative player. I don't know who else we can get. We have to be smart in the transfer window because Paratici is good with them kind of signings. Yeah, because we can get Kessie on a free. We can get Kessie. He's good. He's a good player.
Yeah, Kessie could be a good signing. I mean, he probably wouldn't come until the summer. But maybe a deal could be done with a little bit of money to bring him in sooner because I think, you know, there is definitely the chance, as you say, at top 4. My brother, thank you very much for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. Comment here says you need someone like Maddison. I mean, James Maddison to Tottenham. That'd be a good signing. He's looking good again. Better players around him. Better manager. Who knows? Maria Williams says we have about 4 players who need to go. If Conte gets those players, then we'll see a real improvement in my opinion. I couldn't agree more. Next on the show, EGAL is here with us to have his say. Make sure that like button is being smashed, my people, as well. We have another super chat here from O'Malley that says Harry Kane playing every game is on pace with his yearly breakdown. And that's another reason why I think they need another striker. And they need a striker they're going to put some time and investment into and give him game time. One of the reasons why Harry Kane struggled this season is a little bit of burnout as well. He plays nearly every minute. He gets rushed back from injury, plays for England all the time. He needs that respite. Having said that, 3 goals in his last 4 games now, starting to put the ball in the back of the net a little bit more. Form is temporary, class is permanent. And if Harry Kane's happy, and you have a good January and you're creating more chances for him, he'll start scoring them goals, no doubt, O'Malley. EGAL's now here with me. What you saying, brother?
Terry, I was told, Arsenal fans, you cannot be excited because we have games in hand. We have games in hand and points that we can still put on the board. And the games that we have are guaranteed wins. Guess what, Terry? Not every team can go away from home and beat a team 5-0. Not every team's going to go away from home and win their games. You guys faced Newcastle. You drew. Tottenham faced Southampton. They drew. They faced Liverpool the week before. Great game by them, but they ended up drawing. And you know what? So far, game in hand FC have dropped points. You want to know why? The pressure is on you. The pressure is relieved from us. We're ahead of you guys currently. The pressure's on you to catch up to us. And you know what? This is not even about you, Terry. This is about Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, I was about to say,
one second. Let me finish. Tottenham Hotspur. Today, I watched that game. They had 2 goals that were disallowed. One of them was a clear like mess up by Doherty. He barged into the goalkeeper. The second one, it was close. I think the referees really they got hard done by the referees today. I'll give them that. But when it comes down to it, and you know what? I'll take it back. Gil, he looks like a baller. I was watching him today. He really looks good. But when it comes to Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United and all you guys who have games in hand, always remember points on the board are more important. And when you have points on the board and you actually are ahead of the team, you continuously put the other team under pressure. And today Tottenham were under pressure. They could not score a goal, even though they had 2 goals that were disallowed. When it actually mattered and they need to come down to getting that goal, they couldn't do it. And if it wasn't for the red card, I really think Southampton would have been in this game.
I get what the energy you're coming with, but you do realize that I've said that the games in hand are not as good as points.
It's not about what you said, Terry.
I'm just saying, because like it's weird. Like
you're just here.
You and the viewers have been saying that to me for like 2 or 3, like a week or so, and I'm like, yeah, but I totally agree. I've been
Terry,
the one.
It's not even about you. It's about your fan base. It's about the Tottenham fan base. Come outside, Tottenham fans. Where are you? You said Arsenal Football Club should not be excited. Manchester United fans, you said Arsenal Football Club should not be excited. Guess what? Guess what? We're on 35 points. How many points are Manchester United on? 28. How many points are Tottenham on? It's irrelevant. You're not catching us. You are not catching us this season. Arsenal Football Club are finishing above Tottenham this season. In my opinion, they are not catching us. We're going to beat them in their toilet. And I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says to me. This Tottenham Football Club, there's uncomfortable conversations you have to have. Son has been looking out of pace. You have Harry Kane, who's been terrible this whole entire season, just getting his 4th goal of the season. You have a lot of players in this team that need to do a rebuild. Tottenham Hotspur is in a rebuild that they do not want to identify. They do not want to start their rebuild. They're prolonging the inevitable. They need to rebuild this team. I'm sorry. Anybody who tells me once again, oh, Arsenal are in a false position, I don't care. I really don't care. We are putting pressure on you guys. You guys need to catch up to us. And if you continue to belittle what other teams are doing, I'm sorry. It's up to you. But at this point, I'm saying what I've said. I don't think Tottenham are going to catch us this season. If they do catch up to us, it's going to be for a short period, because at the end of the season, I think we're going to be finishing above them. And they are in a worse rebuild than us, because we are progressing and we have young players and we have a team that is going to go get better together. They currently have Son, who's not firing, who's one of their best players. Kane, who's not firing, who's one of their best players. Their midfield looks disjointed at times. Harry Winks and Oliver Skip are getting game time at their team. I don't rate those guys. You still have David Sanchez, who, you know what, he was a good player at one point, but not anymore. You still have Eric Dyer in the middle of your defense. And how dare Antonio Conte, your credibility to me is gone. How are you saying that Eric Dyer is going to be one of the best center backs in the world? Are you crazy? You said that on camera. Terry, did you hear this? He said this on camera, that Eric Dyer will be one of the best center halves. Come on. Stop being delusional. Even as a great manager, you can say some actual crazy shit. But yeah, that's it. I'm done. These Tottenham guys, they're not catching us. They're out.
So you don't believe, no matter what they do in the window, no matter where they are, what they're doing, you believe there's no chance. I mean, if they win their 2 games in hand, still they would go above you. But you don't believe they're going to do that. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know. But the question
of Arsenal,
No, one of the games in hand is in Arsenal. So this is what's interesting about it. Your next 2 games, Man City and Spurs. How do you feel you're going to do in those matches?
Manchester City is going to be a hard game. Arsenal at home versus Man City. I honestly, at best, I hope that we can get a draw. But the games that matter, the game that I'm looking forward to the most is the game after that, the Tottenham game. The Tottenham game in the league is the next game after the Man City game. We need to go away at home to Tottenham and come back with 3 points. If we go and do that, in my opinion, that will help solidify that we will finish above them this season, and it will help solidify our top 4 race.
I agree with you. I've said all along, if you guys, say all along, in the last day or so, my thought process is if you get a positive result against City and you beat Tottenham, you become the favourites for the top 4. Interestingly, if you lose to City and Spurs beat Watford, which they're highly likely to do because Watford are a very poor team. And again, there's always a slip up, but they're highly likely to beat them. If they beat Watford and you lose to City, there will be 2 points difference. If they beat you at White Hart Lane, they go a point above you with 2 games in hand. That's why for me it's such an interesting watch if I'm just looking at you 2 teams for a minute, isolated as the North London teams going into this battle. You could be in a position where by the time your game against them finishes, you could be anything between 5 to 8 plus points in front of them, or a point behind them with them having 2 games in hand. The swing is massive, and I think it's very exciting for fans to look at that and watch what's going to happen and unfold.
Guess what, Terry? The pressure is on Tottenham. The ball's in your court. Let's see if you can handle it. I don't think they have the cojones.
Bruv, and listen, you're entitled to that opinion. I can't call it right now. I would always put Arsenal as favourites over Tottenham in North London games. I always do. Even when they were better than you in the league for a 2 or 3 year period, those games in the North London derbies, Arsenal still always felt like they were coming out on top for me. Your next game is massive against City. Get a positive result in that, and the world is going to start looking at you very, very differently indeed. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. I think it's true. I think they will, just because of who they are and what they're doing. Viewers, what do you think? We've got Jerome and Rack backstage that want to come in and have their say. There's a few super chats here I want to do. Holy Delusion Batman is what CFC Florida has got to say. Pac-Man said, Arsenal fans always do this to themselves. It's hilarious to watch. Chill. You've had a few decent games. You're not a guaranteed top 4 at all.
A few. Okay, go rewatch the tape, my friend. Go rewatch the tape, please. We've only dropped points in 2 games at home this season, and we've only really lost to big teams. So stop it. And Everton.
Maria Williams says, we are here, chill and see what happens when the season ahead is never ahead of myself. I never get ahead of myself. They do this. They cry when they lose. See the Everton game. We've got Maria Williams has got to say here. Let's bring out Rack and Jerome into this conversation as well. What are you saying, gents? I want to go to Jerome. Jerome's big Spurs fan. What's your take on what EGAL is saying?
Oh, geez. EGAL, you always make me laugh, man. You're funny. You see, the thing is, pressure is not on Tottenham, man. Pressure is on you. The pressure is on you, my friend. Because the thing is, you have to be able to remain there. If you're 35 points, good on you. Great stuff, Arsenal. Great. But remember, you've got a hard game coming. Reality is coming for you for City. All I'm saying, if you get a trouncing again, like Liverpool, remember Liverpool, how you got that trouncing? And if you get that trouncing again against Man City, man, just wait. Just wait. Once you come to on our stadium, because wait, when you beat us, you thought it was so great. You beat a Nuno team, a shit team. But now you're coming against a CONTE team. It's different, my friend. It's completely different team. Now we're going to be talking. Once you come to the toilet stadium, like you said, we will see. But the pressure is on you. It is on you. Try to remain 4th. Because remember, even with the 2 games in hand, all I'm saying is it's January. And Arsenal, we all know how Arsenal always crumble after Christmas. And all I'm saying is just wait. Then you talk.
Well, you're saying wait. Not a problem. I'll wait. I'll wait until I'm proven right. But for now, until you guys have more points than us on the board, you cannot continue to act like you've completed your task. Because we've seen over the past couple games, games in hand does not mean guaranteed points. You've already dropped points.
Definitely.
You've already dropped points. You've already dropped points. Now, what is that? 2 games you've already dropped since you've come back. You've won against Palace and West Ham. I don't think you're gonna drop points against Watford either. I think you're gonna win that convincingly. But after that, don't forget, when you play Arsenal, after that you play Chelsea. So it's not like it's gonna be
2 hard games. 2 very hard games, my friend.
It's as if
the Premier League's not easy.
It's as if we're halfway through the season and a number of teams are going to drop points still. I don't think that's what I'm saying. Man United dropping points to Newcastle doesn't stop us making top 4. Arsenal getting beat, even if you get beat back to back by Man City and Spurs, that's not Arsenal out of the top 4 race. There are so many trials and tribulations left. It's very interesting to see. I know you've got to go, EGAL. Top man. Thank you very much indeed. I know you've got to shoot. Alan's jumping in here to replace him. But I wanted to ask Rack a question here as a kind of rival. Who is the pressure on? Is the pressure on Tottenham, who have got a better manager than Arteta, or the bigger club? The club that says it's bigger and better than Tottenham. Who is the pressure on, in your opinion, to forget most pressure's on Man United to make top four. We know that. Take Man United out. Looking at the two North London clubs, who is under more pressure, Spurs or Arsenal, in your opinion?
You know, there's very little to kind of between them, to be honest. Like, the thing is, obviously Conte has come in. Conte is a huge world-class manager, so you would expect, you know, an increase in performance that goes with his stature. Obviously, if Spurs come out and spend a lot of money in the winter transfer window, that again may have an influence. I really can't pick between them, either in terms of pressure or in terms of performance at the moment. Not performance, but in terms of who's going to get there, because Conte is undoubtedly a better manager than Arteta. I think, generally speaking, you could probably say, over recent times, Spurs have got a better squad. But at the same time, Arsenal coming into good form. Like, it seems like after just over 2 years of Mikel Arteta, having Aubameyang out of the team and having these young players, all of a sudden it seems to have clicked. Now, I stress the word "seems" because we've all been here with Arsenal previously. You know, I've always said I've got a bit of a soft spot for Arsenal. I don't mind them as much, and obviously a lot of their fans have been getting so much stick over the years that I have a little bit of sympathy with them. But at the same time, they do sometimes bring it on themselves, and every time they go on a run of winning 3 or 4 games, they start celebrating, saying we're back. This is a title-winning defense and all this kind of stuff. We know the stories. Now, could this be something new? This could maybe. Do
you know what's interesting? As I say, a few people saying, Terry, you can't take United out of it, and I am, for the context of the North London debate, because EGAL very clearly left Man United out around his Spurs are not finishing in front of us. He didn't want to quite say yet that he doesn't think they'll finish in front of Man United, and we'll see what the next few games look like. If Ralph's Man United suddenly click into gear in 2 or 3 games time and start looking good, everyone's opinions are going to change again. So I think it's just about biding our time still a little bit. Alan, though, from your point of view, first of all, today's game, how are you feeling about it? But also, what's your take on EGAL's claims? I really want to get your take on that as a Spurs fan.
It's just been funny listening to Arsenal fans with their premature ejaculation over one result. It's been quite embarrassing just to hear straight off the bat. Poor performance all through. I said on the last one that if Conte could get the level of performance out he has until January and then bringing the fee, we'll finish top 4. It was a bad performance. It still leaves us, like you said, quite after EGAL was done, like getting overhyped. That if we win our 2 games, if they lose to Man City and then lose to us, we're a point ahead with 2 games in hand. It's how football works. We're only halfway through a season. They like to say Spurs like to overhype when we go higher than them in the table, but they're doing exactly the same thing. So we'll wait, get January out of the way, see how things go. A lot of poor performances around. For me, the worst player on the pitch today was Son. Did nothing, offered nothing, got in people's way loads of times as well. I didn't see him take on a player and beat a player. So for him, Harry Kane wasn't that good as well. He just wasn't at it as well. I know he got the penalty and he had a goal. So unlike Arsenal fans as well, it was offside, a probable foul because goalkeepers are protected. That's done is done. I'm not using that as an excuse. We just weren't at it today. When they went down to 10 men, they sat in and we couldn't break them down. We need better quality players to be able to break other teams down because we're lacking that. Because we're relying on people like Hill, who isn't there yet, Doherty, who hasn't performed at all for Spurs. Harry Winks having a good spell of form, but he can't unlock a killer ball like to turn a game on its head like other people we've had previously, like Eriksen. So there's still loads. Spurs fans are under no disillusion that we still need quality players to come in and make our squad better. It's something we knew from the start of the season. It's something we said when Nuno got fired. We'll just have to wait and see how that goes for us. If he doesn't get backed, then we probably won't get top 4 because most of that team is not good enough. But Arsenal fans getting overhyped, I want to come back to this in about a month or 2 because if they have to fall off like they normally do, then I'd love to come back and just rub their noses in it.
The thing is, but I think both sets of fans should feel optimistic. Like Terry, you spelled it out correctly because it's all to fight for. Like this is so far from done. There's going to be plenty more twists and turns in the road. And it's going to be good fun to watch. Neutral.
I agree. Look, as a Man United fan, we take our L from last night. It's a loss as far as I'm concerned. Performance was atrocious. It was there or thereabouts. I reacted to the game. how I felt in the moment. I had a big rant on Space today about the deeper problems that I still think exist at my club, which I've been speaking about, which bore people for 7 years, and mediocrity from the board and those standards by the club, and the fact that just sacking managers and just selling players and buying players and promoting this player and dropping him for 9 years hasn't worked. I don't just think it's going to suddenly work this time. It's a cultural there's a cultural shift that's needed in the sense of there needs to be a higher demand to win. I believe the same at Tottenham. The reason that you guys fail at the final hurdle quite often is because I don't think there is that demand to win like there is right now at Liverpool, like there is at Chelsea, like there used to be at Manchester United. And those things need to happen. But there's a lot of people can't take banter, but they also love to give it out. I see so much of that in the game right now. Like, I totally get why Gooners today will banter, and they have every right to. But if they lose to City at the weekend and Man United win on Thursday and win on Sunday and Spurs win their next game and Arsenal get bantered, it'll be, yeah, but we're still no one can just take the banter and go, yeah, today we deserve it today because we were bad. Equally, everybody kind of wants to go, they take banter too far. It's almost like it starts good and then this noise happens in my head where I go, oh, you went too far. Like, the season ain't over this weekend. Relax a little bit. Look at Chelsea. Let's take it away from the top 4 race. Everyone was laughing at Chelsea. You're this, you're that, terrible for 8 games. By the end of this week, they could be ahead of Liverpool, who were laughing at them 2 games ago. But fast forward 2 weeks in terms of match days. That could be 4 weeks because of breaks. But you fast forward a few weeks, Liverpool could be back in front of Chelsea. It's just take the banter on the chin. Don't take it too seriously. And just relax a little bit. It's honestly, I find it crazy how every other week someone's written off. Do you know what I mean? It's like trying to predict who's dying in Game of Thrones. It's like, wow, just relax, bro.
What I think is mad is it's fair enough if your rivals, take the piss banter and stuff. But when you're writing your own club off, when everything is still to fight for, that I think is a little bit weird because you're supposed to be a supporter. Even if you're wrong, it's much better to be optimistic than be pessimistic. I still think we've got a great chance of winning the league, and I may be wrong. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But so what? At the end of the day, I'd rather if I'm sitting here moping around saying, "Oh, we're shit. We haven't bought so and so player. So and so is injured. Where our title's done." Like, football's supposed to be fun, man. Like, come on.
Yeah, but the thing is, with you, Ruck, with Liverpool, you've got the pedigree. We all know you guys can do it. You guys can win the league. You guys have done it. But with someone like EGAL, who's always going, oh, nobody's going to catch it. We've got 35 points and blah, blah, blah. It's like, come on, chill out.
I was mainly talking about Chelsea. Chelsea fans. So Chelsea fans.
What's really ironic, sorry, Rack, what's really ironic about it is I think EGAL said something like, you guys are counting your chickens before they've hatched to Spurs fans. And I'm like, but that's exactly what you're doing by acting like you're not going to drop points. You're not going to go into a slump either. The one thing I'd say about Man United, Tottenham and Arsenal, one of them, in my opinion, is highly likely to make the top 4. But none of them, in my opinion, are going to do a Man City-like run where they're unbeaten for 15 games, but they're winning 13 of them and they're securing top 4. Oh, there is going to be topsy-turvy ups and downs between now and the end of the season. And and this has been the same in the top 4 race for the past 3 to 4 years. And I don't think it's going to be any different. So my view is have a little banter when you need to, remain a little bit humble, because in 2 weeks, look, I'm even seeing it with players right now. One of my favorite players, Marcus Rashford, is dog poo right now and needs to be dropped. I'm now having people say, I told you, Terry, for the last 4 years, he's been crap. It's taken you 4 years to get to this bad form for you to say I was right. No, I think his performances for 18 months, 2 years have been this bad. They haven't, because he was one of the top 3 performing left inside forwards in the past 2 seasons across all 4 leagues. Literally, in the last 2 years, only Son and Sancho have more goal contributions than him. He may not be doing what you like. He may not be but the point I'm making is more along the lines of you've waited 4 years to be able to take this bit of form to say you were right. And that's what people do now. Like, it's weird. I don't think Tottenham are going to make it. They'll see Tottenham do really well for 6 games. On the 7th game, draw and go, see, told you. It's like, That ain't it yet, bro. You know what? If Spurs lose 3 or 4 on the bounce and the 12 points of top 4, then go in. It's, as you say, the premature ejaculation from everybody is like, no, you're going for the kill too soon, bro. You know,
exactly.
Crazy, biting off more than you can. It's crazy to me. I see it all the time. Trashford, mate. Listen, people have been calling him Trashford and whatever for 4 years. And when he scored, the maddest thing is, someone said to me today, "Are you going to apologize to people that said he weren't good enough?" I'm like, but they weren't apologizing to me when he was one of the highest goal contributing inside forwards of the past 2.5, 3 years. Where were their apologies in that nearly 3 year period? They were
What's
quiet.
the saying? Even a broken clock is wrong twice a day. Like, you know what I mean? Just because someone hits a bad pressure form doesn't mean you're right for that whole 4 year period.
It's true.
Rashford is right. And look, I've got no love lost for Man United. I do like Rashford. I think Rashford he's a class individual aside from all the playing stuff. But he's a good player, man. He's a good player who's only going to get better.
He's good. He's good to very
definitely.
good. He's good to very good. He's in bad form. He'll come good again at some point. Look, I'll give you a better example. A man like Rastaman, Terry straight up waffling. That is code, ladies and gentlemen. For Terry's right, and I don't know how to debunk him.
Just before you carry on, Terry, I've got to go, but thanks for having me on as always.
No worries at all, mate. We're going to add a few more people in a second here. We've got Prime's coming in with us now to have his say. And we're going to get Moman in as I think it's pronounced Moman Ali. I think that's how it's pronounced. We're gonna get him in a minute as well. Like a better example, because it's actually probably more emotive around Harry Kane. Harry Kane's been called overrated for 7 years. He started. People have gone this year. See how bad he's been this year. Told you he's rubbish. He kind of waited nearly a decade to be able to say this is how bad he is. But this is what agendas do. People have done it with Martial, did it with Pogba. Like, there are people that don't think Mo Salah's world class. If he goes 4 or 5 games without scoring, there'll be some football fans that will say, see, all this nonsense about him being world class. He's gone 5 games without scoring. It's mad. It is crazy to watch, but entertaining to watch as well. I'm going to go to Prime in a second. I've got some super chat to do first. The fans got gassed from beating Norwich. Lol. Pac-Man said, Arsenal fans always do this to themselves. It's hilarious to watch. Chill, you've had a few decent games. You're not guaranteed top 4 at all. Josh says, laughing my ass off, EGAL can't wait for you to be like this when you get humbled and are crying crying about Arteta. I can't wait for this energy after the January fixtures. 2 Black says, look at the fixtures for Tottenham and Man United. March will be tough for United, and Spurs have to play Arsenal, Chelsea and City in their 6 matches. Very true, it is. But there's so many ways to look at that. You can look at it as could be tough and they could lose and Arsenal go in front. You could look at it that by then they might be cooking and in great form, and those teams don't want to play Tottenham and or Man United. So it's one of those things. There is a positive and a negative for each of these things, which is why I say remain a bit more neutral. At least Tottenham have had performed against big sides. Liverpool, unlike Arsenal, who can't be a big team this season, ends in May, not December, is what Josh has got to say. Let's throw Mo in here as well. How you doing, bro?
How are you guys?
We're good. I saw the setup and thought, can't let him sit backstage with that setup, bro. It looks good. I knew the sound was going to be good. Guys, what's your take? I've got a Prime first on Tottenham per se today, and them people trying to write off their top 4 hopes based on today's result.
So I don't think that anybody can write off Antonio Conte. I've been watching Antonio Conte since he was at Juve, and the guy is just someone who transforms players. That Bonucci, I know that you all are like Premier League fans, and you guys started watching Antonio Conte when he started at Chelsea, but this guy made Bonucci who he is today, who made Chiellini that good. He made a lot of these players come back to life, and this is what he's going to do at Tottenham. And he might not get top 4 this year, but if you have Antonio Conte, he's a short-term plan to fix your club, and then you move on to the next manager. It's the same as Inter Milan. They moved, like, I'm an Inter Milan fan, right? Beginning in 1998, and I have not seen a manager that come and transform players and have a revolution in a club just like Antonio Conte. He made all these players worth double, triple what they're worth. And this is why Tottenham fans are like excited about having Antonio Conte, because they know this guy can make someone like Eric Dyer come to the picture again, Davis come to the picture again. This is something that only I think Jurgen Klopp and Pep and maybe Thomas Tuchel can do for your club. And this is why this guy, you can never write him off. Maybe Man United, they have a better squad on paper, but they don't have Antonio Conte. Ralf Rangnick, who is at RB Leipzig, Hoffenheim, he will make your club better in terms of finances. He will make your club double the value of the club, which is Man United. They don't need that as of now. They just needed someone who will have an immediate impact on the players right now to put the winning mentality in their heads. And I don't think that he can do that. But Antonio Conte will do that to these players. And we can see it. Even today, they tried to press, but credit to Hassan Hutel, who actually set his team really, really well, even after they go a man down. So I cannot write his team off, Antonio Conte. But as Terry said, they might not get the run that will make them win the go to the top 4 with a big margin. But I think because of Antonio Conte, they are closer to top 4 just because of the manager's experience in winning stuff.
And I think a lot of people agree with that, and a lot of people share that opinion. A few people in the comments then, Terry, you're just trying to twist it to favour Man United. If I'm being blunt with you, I've already said if Arsenal beat or get a positive result against City and beat Tottenham, because of the numerical advantage they already have because they've played additional games, I will make Arsenal favourites because they'll have something like a 6-point gap over everybody. Champions League football coming up for Man United, bottleneck games. And if United don't start performing as well, Arsenal become the favourites because their form is good, numerical advantage, and they'll have a big gap over those teams. However, Arsenal lose those 2 games, which, again, Gooners are going to say you're being a hater. I'm just being logical. No one can tell me that it isn't a possibility that Arsenal lose back-to-back games now. It may not happen, but you're playing City and Spurs away. To act like that's not plausible.
It's very possible.
Yeah, of course it is. It's
most likely not very possible. Okay, to be honest, to play City and Spurs away, probably it's most likely not possible. I know that they are in a good form, but just put on paper, they might be like, I won't bet on them to win these 2 games.
I don't think any Gooner would bet on them winning both games. They're highly likely to drop points. Prime, like, what's your take on this as well? Do you think people are wrong to write off Tottenham this early?
Yeah, I don't think Spurs should be written off. Conte is a world-class manager, top, and these Spurs players are performing above themselves. But eventually, quality will shine through. Dyer's performing amazing right now, for example. But eventually, his quality will shine through, and you'll see just how good he really is. And if you don't improve on him, improve on players like Davison, Sanchez, etc., Matt Doherty, you guys will stagnate and you won't improve like next season if you want to push for top 4, maybe try and push for a title or whatever. And you only have him until the end of next season. So what's going to happen from then? Because do you trust, and this is a question for Spurs fans, do you trust Levy to go out there and get the players Conte needs? Because he hasn't done that. He didn't do that with Mourinho. Fine, you can say he's washed. He didn't do that with Poch, who built this amazing team for you guys apparently. Like, Levy's not going to do that.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really fair point, and a lot of people that have said Spurs have a chance. If you listen to their rhetoric, it's if we have or if they have, depending on who they support, a positive January in terms of transfers. I think that's fair. If they go through January and sign James Tarkowski and, I don't know, a Callum Wilson level striker, then again, I don't look at them and say, yeah, you'll do it. But they suddenly start bring in a high level centre back. They sign Vlahovic as an example. There may be things that are very, very different indeed for Tottenham. And there's a few people in the comments saying, why are you guys hating on Arsenal? I don't think there's any...
I've said I've got a soft spot for Arsenal.
I don't think there's been any hate towards Arsenal. It's simply stating that nothing is set in stone right now. I think it's honestly... I've said it about the league title. I'm like, I don't even think that's as set in stone as people are making it out to be. Now, in 3 or 4 games' time, my opinion might change. If Chelsea and Liverpool start lose a game each or 2 games each in the next few games, my opinion might change. But again, a lot of Arsenal fans are talking about they might do something against City. If they do, and Chelsea or Liverpool win tonight, City drop points against Arsenal, and then Liverpool beat Chelsea. Then you could be top. Like, it's a madness. Like, it's all so close right now. I think writing any one of Liverpool or City off from winning the title, or writing any one of Tottenham, Man United, or Arsenal out of the top 4 race now where two of the teams are not even halfway through the season, I just think is so premature.
This
I
is
was
what
on the
Arsenal
Gals.
always.
Go on, Prime. Go.
Sorry. This is what
Go on.
like Arsenal fans always do, and this has happened for years. This is why I don't really believe this change with Arteta and these young players, as great as they may be performing, because they always go through a bit of a run of 5, 6, 7, 10 games with whatever, and they end up facing, a Chelsea or Liverpool or United or City, and they'll talk a big game, and then they'll go into it, and then they'll lose, and then they go on a bit of a bad run again. Then they'll go into a good run again. Like the same repetitive cycle happens. Like City, you shouldn't be expected to win. Don't bother talking about that.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be. I don't think you guys should talk big about
I
Spurs
get that.
either.
I think everyone's going to drop points. There's a comment from David that says, Terry, you sound sour, Terry. I am sour. I'm sour about the opinion that you can just write off Tottenham, Man United, or Arsenal at this point. I'm not saying you shouldn't write off United and Tottenham and write off Arsenal. You should write none of them off as it stands right now. You got Winnerpool that says, Terry, you attack Arsenal way too much. They're in good form. I've said they're in great form, and I've said positive results in the next 2 games, and I make them favourites. That's not an attack. That's praise. Maybe it's because I don't say it in a very basic way of Arsenal are best. Maybe if I just shorten the word, Arsenal are best. Arsenal be favourites.
Arsenal good.
Arsenal good. Tottenham bad. Man United very bad. I don't know. Maybe I have to simplify it because it's like I'm not being sour. I'm literally being fair and open and honest.
But then if you do that, apparently you're giving them some... Like last season when you guys praised Arsenal, you and KJ, apparently you were giving them judge and making them perform that.
Well, yeah, when I praise them, it's like, no, you just want us to fail. It's whatever I do, I'm wrong. It's crazy. I should sit here in silence and say nothing. What did you make of that game today, Terry? I can't say because I might trigger Winnerpool. Winnerpool gets very upset when I'm positive and even more upset when I'm negative. Someone said to me yesterday on my stream, right, the best comment I've had in a while. He said, Terry, you always defend Bruno. I said, did you watch the stream? He said, yes, all of it. I said, I went and found him all the timestamps. I was very pernickety. 7 times where I was speaking where I said he has to be dropped. But yet, supposedly, I never say nothing. I'm like, you didn't watch it. Or your brain just isn't picking up those words. Like, because I'm not calling him a cunt. I don't know what it is. It's like, again, it's like, did Terry just say he needed to be dropped? I don't know. I didn't hear him call him a prick. You know what I mean? If I don't use something nasty, they don't hear the criticism. It's honestly, it makes me die. It's hilarious. We've got some super chats here that I have to do. Dinesh says, Terry, since the 18-19 season, history in the Premier League, only Liverpool and City have won more than 5 or more in a row. And that's exactly my point. Like, that's exactly my point when it comes to the top 4 race. Everybody's going to drop points. It's like EGAL is right to feel the way he feels if he feels it. But like I've said, it could go one of 2 ways. Spurs could be a point in front of them in a couple of weeks, in a week or so. There could be a point in front of them with 2 games in hand, or like 8, 9 points behind them with 2 games in hand. That's like how much this can change and swing in a matter of days. It's amazing. It really is going to be. And the thing is, we should all just be excited about it. See the problem with EGAL's approach. Don't disagree, but it takes the focus off Tottenham's awful performance today and puts it onto Arsenal, is what Boomer Guna has got to say. Well, it does from a rival point of view, because rivals will then be looking for Arsenal to mess up so they could say, ha, ha, ha. There we go. Terry, a good manager gives a better chance than a good squad or a bunch of experienced players. I think he means United and Arsenal should worry about Tottenham. I think with a good January as well, they should definitely be worried. You know, little things here. First manager in the history of Tottenham in the Prem to be unbeaten in their first 7 league games. I feel little things like that are significant because there may have been a couple of abject performances, but they ain't losing. And that's what we renounce.
Some kind of history.
And we renounce Spurs for being Spursy in those very moments. So, look, it's an intriguing one to me. I'm very excited about it. Red Wolf says, when you criticize a team, you get told you have an agenda against them. But when you praise them, apparently you're twerking for them. yeah. But then again, that's because it's never about what you say anymore on socials. It's what you don't say. So when I say Liverpool are amazing, I have viewers that support other clubs that are annoyed that I'm not saying that about their team. When I'm the best one for me is when I criticize a team that played badly. So yeah, but they're playing better than your team. It's like, yeah, I get that. But Man United being bad doesn't make your team's bad performance any better. It's just like, forget who I support when I'm talking about your team for a minute, but people can't. They can't get out of it. It's the way the world is. And all subject matters have become like that. Title race and top 4 race are wide open. I agree there, Jamie. Why are you so sure Arsenal can't win against City, Terry? I didn't say that. Again, that's not come out of my mouth. I have not
I
said...
want to add something, Terry, here about what you said. People are thinking that you actually are criticizing Arsenal. I think actually for someone like you to come and say that there is a chance that Arsenal can get something out of playing City and playing Spurs is actually praising them, because talk about 5 months ago or even 3 months ago, I don't think anybody would have sat here and said that Arsenal can get something out of these 2 games. But at the moment, if you say that, you're actually praising them playing City and thinking that they can get something. That's a praise for this Arsenal team. They are young, they're still kids, it's a project going on, while the City team, they are ruthless. They will not give you a chance. And if you think that Arsenal can get something out of the City game, even a slight chance, I think that's you're praising Arsenal instead of criticizing them. This is just my opinion.
Mate, I think I like to set scenes, because for me, that's what's exciting. When I think about tonight, I'll give you an example away from Arsenal. So tonight's game, I know categorically Liverpool are the favourites. But when I gear up for a game, I think about it from the point of view of, I know who's likely to win. But I'm like, oh, what if Leicester throw the cat amongst the pigeons here and pick up a win? What does that do for the title race? What does that mean? How will that make Liverpool react to their game away at Chelsea? Because then you go into a situation, Liverpool away at Chelsea is a different kettle of fish to tonight. Chelsea are probably the marginal favourites to win that game. So if Liverpool were to have a shock defeat tonight, how would that impact how they play at the weekend? That's how I think about football. And I actually think that's how everybody thinks about football when they're being honest. But you say it, and some people just get annoyed that you've put that out into the atmosphere and you're hating on Liverpool. I'm like, no, I'm not. I think you're going to win. But what if you don't? What would the reaction be? How do you think you'll approach the game at Chelsea? What would happen if this happened? The what ifs are everything about fandom in football. If you take away the ifs, the buts, and the maybes from football conversation, it's dead. But the problem we've got to into this world now is people really do like, when it comes to their own clubs, when you come on here as a Liverpool fan to watch a Man United review, you want no echo chambers. You want people ripping on Man United, bantering United. You want people backing them, fights, arguments. When it comes to your own club, it's like, can you just say the things that I want to hear, please? That's what this boils down to. And I get people criticize me now for asking questions like, what would the reaction be, EGAL, if you were to lose these next 2 games? How dare you suggest we can lose 2 games? I'm asking what you think the reaction would be. I haven't said will, but people, it's honestly, it's a madness. So yeah, I haven't slagged Arsenal off once in this stream. I think they're in great form. But yeah, some people
I don't understand either. I don't get it. The thing as well, like how people can be like, oh, how can you say Arsenal can't beat City? The thing is, for teams like Tottenham and Arsenal, we should be praying for a draw against City or teams like Liverpool, praying for it, because we can't be saying like Arsenal and Tottenham are like world beaters, because they're not going to do anything against teams like City and Liverpool, because they have to be praying for something like this.
Palace beat City, right? City got man sent off after 30 minutes or something like that, and Palace beat them 2-0 at the Etihad. So even if it means a stroke of luck or a red card or something, like shit happens in football. That's why we watch for it.
This is exactly it. Opening 10 minutes. Lacazette goes through on goal. Ruben Diaz brings him down. Arsenal get a pen and a red card to City, which is plausible. The game changes. Who knows? Arsenal might put in one of the performances they put in a couple of seasons ago, where they beat City, where they beat Liverpool, where they just defend astutely, hard to break down, counter. They beat City. Arsenal then go into that Tottenham game in a whole different frame of mind. Beat City and beat Tottenham, winning 6 on the bounce, having a minimum 6 points. By the time they beat Spurs, it'll be at least 9-point gap over them. They go into the January period. They play some League Cup games, FA Cup games, and they're relaxed. They've got a 9-point gap. Man United and Spurs are under huge pressure to win those games in hand. It's honestly, that's what I love about football at this moment. This time of the season, it's the cliche phrase of there's so many 6-pointers. There are so many 6-pointers right now in terms of games implications. These games in hand have kind of added another element of jeopardy. I think it's very exciting. A few people saying you guys are obsessed with Arsenal. Why are you talking about them? Because we're talking about the top 4 race. If we were talking about the top 4 race and we weren't mentioning Arsenal, you would also be offended. We're talking about Arsenal.
Can I add to your point, Terry, about this? This is what people would said, that City is boring. It's not boring because the way they play. City, sometimes people think they are boring because you go to the game expecting what is going to happen in the game. And I like what you just said. Football is about competitiveness. If you remove that from football, if you remove the ifs and what if this happens, you remove the excitement about this game. And this is what I like what you just said. You just put a scenario out there like a Z Diaz, this happens. This is what football is about. I want to go and watch a game and I don't want to know what is going to happen. And this is what I want to watch football for. If I go to every game, and I said this a lot, this is what I'm not here to criticize Pep. He's one of the greatest managers, but sometimes you go to watch City and you know exactly what is going to happen in the game. You know that they're going to have position and you know they're going to create tons of chances and you're going to get 3-4 chances and you have to take these chances. However, sometimes you would get these Palace games, you would get these games, you would get that Liverpool when they second half, they came on City and then they tried so hard to put City under pressure. I want to see that from Arsenal. I want to see Arsenal trying. I want to see Arsenal not surrendering to City, not just playing into their hands, playing their football, trying to get the kids on the ball, trying to play the football that Arteta wants them to play. And you can tell that he wants to play from the back and he wants to do that. This is what's good about football. And this is what every football fan in the world should expect and should want. I don't want any team to just beat the other team 4-5-0 without any fight putting in the game. This is what we want. And I like these scenarios, but people don't like them. They want Liverpool to win 5-0 every game. What is good? What is good here if they win every game 5-0 and I have only 2-horse race?
I don't, as a rule, if City are playing, unless it's a big team they're playing, I don't watch City games. But if halfway through the game and the opposition score first, I'm turning onto the City game because I'm like, shit, could something happen?
That's bad.
Yeah. No, because it's bad. But it's bad.
Great for a City fan.
That's what makes it interesting for me because you say the outcome is almost predictable often with City.
I hate that for football. I hate that. I want to watch. I was so grateful that Leicester got these 3 goals back because I kept switching the setup, which game goes on the big TV, and I wanted really. I showed this. I showed my setup.
You're right. It's why red cards annoy me sometimes. They have to happen. Yeah, that's a definite red card, but it ruins the game. Sometimes it makes it better. So if the bet tonight, if Liverpool get a red card, it's interesting because it levels it up a little bit. Because if Leicester get a red card, the game's over. It's practically over.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear a good game. I'm gonna tune into the game and I want to watch a good game. I want to see Leicester
Terry,
playing.
Stop putting this into the atmosphere, Terry. You're gonna ruin it. It's gonna make it happen.
It's the flu as judge.
It's gonna be done. You don't want to say it, so I'll say it for you. City will slap Arsenal differently, is what Mr. Frenzy 1 has got to say. The Red Wolf says, why are their fans saying games in hand are guaranteed points? Wouldn't be pressure on the board to win instead? Do you know what it is? I don't think I haven't seen anyone personally say they're guaranteed points. What I have seen is people say, don't celebrate being 5 points ahead of a team that has 2 games in hand yet, because they could win those games and then you're a point behind. Then it's I almost feel like both sets of fans have got a fair point. Don't overly celebrate your 3.5 point, 6 point lead when the other team's got games in hand, but equally don't take those games in hand as guaranteed points. Again, just a little bit of balance. It's very open. That's all this is. It's a madness to me. It's absolutely crazy how not this argument, we're not even arguing, but this discussion's even kind of come up. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. We really appreciate one of the biggest Tottenham streams we've done in a while. We're back live after Leicester, Liverpool later on this evening. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you turn on the bell notification button for the terrace as well. Great conversation. Excellent game today. It'll be a beautiful game this evening, I'm sure, as well, for one reason or another. Until next time, take care. Goodbye.